Oliver TU brought. Let's head down to the first match. Hello and welcome to the playoffs. Oliver TU has stuck with his trusty mentor deck. Eric Froehlich looks like he has taken a page from the book of Shuhei Nakamura. Shuhei made the finals last year playing nothing but Oath of Druids, and Eric has brought out Shuhei Othamura.
So
sure, why not?
Oliver is a mentor.
Yeah, the Oath should be pretty good against Monastery Mentor. The Monastery Mentor deck inherently has to win with creatures. The tricky bit is that the card Monastery Mentor goes so wide and so big so fast that sometimes you Oath a Grizzlebrand into play and they kill you anyway.
Yeah, so I have won many matches racing Grizzlebrand with Mentor.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but the Mentor deck is capable of it. You're absolutely right.
But right now, the hand of Oliver is pretty good against Eric's hand. Also, the mulligan hurts, but Eric has no Oath, and his bomb right now is Attack Fighten. So Pyroblast and Mental Misstep. Oh, that's...
Yeah. Wow, he's going to Pyroblast the Ponder. He could have misstepped it, but he chose Pyroblast instead. Interesting. I would have misstepped and say, but he's going to wind up using both of them anyway. He's decided Sapphire Ponder is suspicious enough. He just does not want to let Eric set up his draw. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. You don't like it, it sounds like.
No, I think that just the first Ponder when you don't know what your opponent's hand is.
Oh, there's the Oath.
So, okay, maybe we have a fast game one. So next turn is Oath.
Yeah, I mean, Oliver wound up essentially spending his permission, both his Misstep and his Pyroblast, trying to stop Eric from digging into his deck to find what he needs, but Eric had a second card drawing spell, and the Brainstorms found him exactly what he needs. So Eric Froehlich seems to be in great shape. Hey, this is all happening. We're now in we're still in Eric's main phase. He hasn't shipped the turn. He can't quite get the Oath down now, so he's got to kind of try to figure out what does he want to draw next turn, what does he want to be able to shuffle away the fetch land. Oliver has to draw. Okay, he needed a land. He needed a land. He needed to be able to play this Monastery Mentor ASAP, and he had it. Maybe scribed that to the top. I'm not sure with the Mult to 6 if he scribed to the top and knew this was coming, but he might have.
So it's interesting that how Eric put the cards back, because he hid the orchard so that if Oliver plays Gitaxian Pro, it does not see it, so he will let the Oath resolve.
That's a great point.
But he needed green mana to still play cards. So I don't know if...
That's a great point. I missed that, but I think Eric, that's exactly why Eric secrets it that way. He wanted Oliver to think Eric was not capable of turning on the Oath. And whatever, it's not like Oliver actually had the Gitaxian Probe, so it didn't matter.
Awesome blue card, what's your bet?
He needs it. Nope. Swords of Plowshares, though.
Yeah, but there are 2 creatures there. So next turn he can do 3, 5. So the problem is that after the Oath, the dig through time will be online, most likely. So even if Oliver forces also swords the
creature or whatever, yeah.
I think a dig is quite a lot of cards to know. Also to stop Swords to Plowshares. And depending on what comes, you can still win.
All right, let's find out what creature set Eric has.
Oh, okay. So
Oliver's
he's dead to anything that Eric Oath into.
What's the Oath gonna find? It's Ariok Salvagers without the combo.
It's Shuhei deck, so you have to play Salvagers.
Makes sense.
So dig through time. If he finds Lotus or Time Walk or any of these 2 cards, he wins on the spot.
Oh, let's see. Eric is, in fact, going to go through the dig through time. He's built enough cards. So the Ariok Salvagers, we haven't seen this combo yet this season, but the idea is you find Black Lotus. It costs 1 and a white to return a 0-mana artifact from your graveyard. Well, Black Lotus makes 3 mana, so if he finds a Black Lotus, he's got infinite mana. Then he does need to find something to actually do with it. Like, he needs Lotus and a way to win on the spot.
Yeah, he can start with Dark Faden.
He can use Dark Faden. He found the Black Lotus, so he's got the infinite mana. So can he play Dark Faden infinitely many times to find his entire deck?
No, he can only play it once, but that's 2 cards digging. 2 more cards.
Because he doesn't have the ability to bounce the Dark Faden. Sorry.
So that's gonna need a bit of time because he will at least need to get 6 mana, I think.
Right. He's gonna. So you see the loop in action. Play Black Lotus, sack it for white, pick up the Black Lotus for 2. He's turning a 1 white mana profit every time through the cycle. Once he's got enough white mana, he can start sacking the Black Lotus for red and blue. He can play Dark Faden. Basically, Eric is hoping that he can find a way to actually win the game this turn and not have to say go.
Yeah, so he's dead if Oliver untaps and is able to attack. Also, we haven't seen Oath this season on Winter Super League, and also this kind of Oath is not the kind of Oath you see in an online event, because it's really time consuming to make this loop happen.
Sure.
And so
and in general, if Eric had the victory, had the card, had the Pyrite Spell Bomb or whatever in his graveyard, Oliver would concede. I mean, the etiquette on VSL has certainly been to concede.
Yeah, sure, but go through the loop. He does not have it. So
you're right, he doesn't. Like, Oliver's not actually dead yet.
He's not gonna get infinite mana yet. He's just gonna get some mana to keep looping if he needs it.
Yep. And
then he will play the Dark Faden.
Might as well pick up the Pearl for value. Now, you say, does Oliver just win if he gets to untap? The Mentor gets blocked, so it's 2 tokens, right? The Plow gets misstepped.
Jace.
So the Plow gets misstepped, and then Jace flashes it back. So there's 2 triggers.
I think flashing back Gush is better.
Okay, but then there's a blocker. It's only 2 monks getting through. I'm not convinced Eric is dead.
You have to play 6 spells. So
I don't think Oliver has. He found Time Walk. Dark Faden has delivered a Time Walk. This should do it. Not this turn, but on the Time Walk turn. Eric is going to activate his Oath of Druids again. He'll get to spill everything down to the Grizzlebrand. He'll get to draw cards from the Grizzlebrand. By the way, he gets to Jace the Mind Sculptor. It's like we said, Eric, he has infinite mana already.
So it depends that maybe the other creator is the bottom card, so he could still lose. He played a dig through time, so he's safe from the bottom card.
He's not going to accidentally deck himself. You're right. Dig through time, put 5 cards on the bottom that he knows are not. He knows Grizzlebrand's not his bottom card. He can't accidentally deck himself.
Maybe he does not play Grizzlebrand.
All right. Well, Oliver, I think Eric just explained, hey, I've got the Time Walk. I get everything. You're dead. So there you go. Oliver Pugh scoops them up. Eric had the infinite mana combo, managed to find a Time Walk, and that's all he needed. Yeah, Eric's saying in our chat that he told Oliver his hand, and Oliver said, good enough for me.
Also, it would be nice to know if he had tell him that he has Grizzlebrand in his deck. But
yeah, he probably did. I mean, this looks like it's pretty stock Shuhei. I think if Oliver has been scouting standard vintage lists, this should be one that he's seen.
Yeah. Also, seems like Eric is playing the Shuhei Oath with only 1 generate explosives. and that Oliver is playing the new the deck that played Luscott Vargas in the other in the dailies this past week with Sudden Shock main deck.
Aha.
So because I have seen 2 Sudden Shocks in his sideboard, so I'm think that he got his last deck from Scott Vargas. So maybe this is also just get Reese deck.
Makes sense.
So
an anti-mentor take on mentor then. Sudden Shocks. Guy has the ability to kill the other guy's mentor.
The only problem I see with this list is that it's so heavy on red main deck that you could get really screwed against decks like White Eldrazi with only 3 red sources. He's not putting the he's not putting the cage in. Oh, really? That's weird. He's not putting disenchant or cage.
That is what they're there for. Interesting. I mean, look, I don't know how much experience Oliver Tew has playing against Oath of Druid. I mean, the card is basically as old as he is. Doesn't see a lot of play in a lot of formats other than Vintage.
So he's keeping Swords to Plowshares and taking out Dark Fiden, which I think is a really great card against Oath.
Huh.
Because then having non-creature threats, it's really powerful. So Oliver has a not a great hand, but he has Ancestral.
Come on, aren't they all great when they have Ancestral in them?
Yeah, so but the other and Eric's hand is not so great.
That's a Pyroclasm, right?
Yes, a white bordered Pyroclasm.
The white bordered part was hard to miss, indeed.
He's playing on the Winter Super League account, so why not pick a black border one?
How many Pyroclasms are there on Magic Online at this point? Hasn't been in that many sets, has it?
I'm gonna check. Also, you have at least all the new Pyroclasts, at least 5 Pyroclasts with new border, with black border.
All right.
Yeah, maybe he likes the old art a lot.
It makes a statement, that's for sure. All right. Oliver did get to resolve his Ancestral. Now he's got a Time Walk, which he's going to use. He's going to use as an Explorer to get up to Monastery Mentor rather than using it after the Mentor.
You play the Mentor or the Dark Fiden? Also, Eric found a Oath with this. So obviously he's gonna draw Fossil Will or Amox now if he's playing Shuhei Oath, because this is what should happen. So he's gonna play the
Yeah, Oliver did go for the Dak Faden to try to make his hand better before he commits a creature to the board. I think that's the right play. Eric does have the ability to play Oath of Druids. He does not have the ability to defend it.
No, Eric is... So if he believes in his deck, he should play Time Walk into Forbidden Orchard.
If he believes in his deck, I like it.
So in the last season, this kind of plays happened a lot with this deck. So
Shuhei ran pretty well. That's fair.
So it should be an option.
I do think you play Oath of Druids while Oliver's tapped out. It's only really Force of Will that stops you. Like maybe he sided in a disenchant. I think you have to risk it, especially with his hand doesn't do anything else really.
So Oliver sided some number of Fragmentize. I think this deck plays 2 Fragmentize and 2 Disenchants in the sideboard. That's an interesting split. But
Dak Faden does not seem to have found any of those cards.
Yeah, but he's gonna go on a cruise soon.
Sure. I mean, Dak Faden does the one thing he always does is he sets up Delve spells. Oliver also has Snap Back My Ancestral as an option available to him, though that turns on Oath of Druid, so kind of the drawback.
I usually don't like to keep Snapcasters against Oath because they force you to make plays you will not like to do. Because even just Snapcaster Ancestral, even if it doesn't have an oath, gives us so big window for your opponent to just slam an oath and win off your Snapcaster Mage.
Right.
But
all right, Gitaxian Probe finds Gitaxian Probe. Oliver knows what he's up against, though, is the big news. He also turns on Treasure Cruise without being required to exile Ancestral. Presumably, this is a boat full of gold. I guess he has to worry a little bit about being forced to discard. Yeah, Oliver is in a position where he'll have to discard. I mean, I think you just run it.
Yeah, so you can draw into an Amox or into
or you can draw a bunch of spells and.
So now he could make like a setup of being able to play Mentor and Snapcaster Mage in the same turn for Time Walk.
Aha!
It's not gonna be easy, but so that's a 7 mana line. But Gush gets 1 mana. So if he founds Black Lotus soon, it will be an option.
Yeah, Oliver was forced to discard his Monastery Mentor there. Shipped it back. Eric is just going to pass with untapped mana. Dak Faden finds cards that are off screen. Find out soon enough.
It's a land. We will see soon.
Swords and Fragmentize, we're being told.
Oh, Fragmentize.
That changes things.
Great there. And so, but right now the Fragmentize is not gonna resolve.
Well, he knows about the Flusterstorm,
but not about the mental misstep.
Not about the mental misstep. Good point. But he can actually pay for a Flusterstorm right here. He might be tempted to play Fragmentize as his first spell of the turn with 2 or 3 mana available to just pay for Flusterstorm.
Then
I mean, Eric Strong 1 card since Oliver saw his hand. I would totally just run out Fragmentize with mana available to pay.
Yeah, sure. So that's the line that you should do, but it will
not going to
work. So he missteps, you misstep back, then Flusterstorm gets to counter it. Maybe you could get to a point to. Now it's 3. Also, you could be really greedy and pay for 3 copies and then force another copy of Flusterstorm. But the biggest issue on this plan is that he discarded the Mentor.
I'm a little surprised he discarded the second Mentor. The first one made sense to me. The second one is a little surprising.
I think he has discarded 3 Mentors already.
3, really?
So if we could see the remove
from one away. You are correct, sir.
So I don't know if he is playing 4 Mentors or 3. So it's not gonna be easy to win this game.
Yeah, that's what the Snapcaster Mage is for, right?
Yeah, but.
All right, now I'm interested if Oliver runs this line. He can pay for 3 copies of Flusterstorm, and he can force of will the 4th and last copy of Flusterstorm. It costs him a ton, and
no, I think
discarding his Mentor makes that line worse.
You just Snapcaster the Fragmentize.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Snapcaster Fragmentize seems way better. Now he knows all 4 of those cards, so he knows Snapcaster Fragmentize will work. I think you just run it, and you have to do it main phase because Fragmentize is a sorcery.
So you have forced backup, so maybe he's worried about the dig through time resolving and having to use a force there. So you can still do it the next turn without any problems. You just next turn play the Fragmentize with Pyroblast. There is only Flusterstorm, another Flusterstorm that could make you lose this position. But now Eric played the Tundra, so Oliver knows that it's safe to play the Snapcaster. But he's gushing first, so more cards for Dak Faden.
Dak finds him another Force of Will and something we can't see. Dig through time. Not bad.
Another great card to draw off Darkfiden.
Yeah, Preordain as well. So Snapcaster at Pan. That Ancestral's tempting. Snapcaster Tiago Chan's like, I want the Ancestral. No. Need you to
I think it's
fragmentize. We're up enough cards. We've got to dig through time. Fine.
So it's weird playing the Scalding Tarn instead of actual a real land. Or did he have the Scalding Tarn? Oh no, he had the Scalding Tarn last turn.
Last turn he did, yeah.
Yeah. I prefer to discard fetch lands to Darkfiden instead of real lands because you run out of them.
Oh yeah, and Oliver did this turn discard 2 fetch lands, so.
Yeah. So, okay, Ancestral and
Eric preordains into an Ancestral. Now, Eric does not know Oliver's hand? Yeah, not even.
No, I think he's not playing Attacks and Probe.
Oliver going to go through the dig through time. Again, Probe tells him what he's up against. So Eric can have, what, 1 card? All right, turns out it's an Ancestral Recall. That is a good one, and Oliver's Pyroblast is offline. I think you force this. Yeah, you know Eric's got a handful of not super relevant cards, so I like that Force of Will. Now what is the dig going to find?
Why not having cast Dig Through Time there instead of Ancestral?
Eric could have cast Dig Through Time, you're saying?
Yeah, for the same mana, he just has to crack the fetch.
Well, if he cracks the fetch, though, then he can't find a Pyroblast or a Flusterstorm. I think he was hoping to find a counterspell for the dig, for Oliver's dig.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's also. If he's playing Pyroblast, I
think he's got 3 Pyroblasts.
Okay, so that's fine. I didn't know if he has more Pyroblast or Flusterstorms in his deck.
I'm pretty sure I saw him side up to 3 Pyros.
So Daddy Jace is here, and yeah. I think that's gonna seal the deal.
Sure looks like we're going to game 3.
Yeah, this Snapcaster is gonna win it with help of Containment Priest. But maybe Oliver does not want to show the Containment Priest, so that if he overextends, he will have to waste a counter on Pyroclasm. So just keeping it as hidden information seems fine.
It doubles his clock, though. You really want to give Eric an extra 3 or 4 draw steps?
Having Jason, Darkfiden, and double Fossil Will, I think I will not care.
That's fair.
So he has to draw pretty well because he has to get rid of the counters, then he has to get rid of the Containment Priest, and still has to fight against a Darkfiden and a Jace. So if he gets to Oath, he could Pyroblast the Griselbrand and keep it.
It's good times.
So it doesn't care if it gets countered. You just keep the creature he oaths. So I think it's fine keeping your opponent's Griselbrand.
I have not had that pleasure.
You should play Telemin Performance to get your opponent's.
All right. Eric going to go for Dig Through Time. I like the way he sequences. He resolved a Time Walk, so he knows the coast is clear to tap out because he's going to get to untap next. Now, obviously, it's for Oliver. It's just a question of which answer do you want to spend. Presumably, it's Pyro. Yeah, Pyroblast. But from Eric's perspective, hey, at least he gets to untap. Yeah, he's like, okay, I can engineered explosives and kill 1 planeswalker. Whatever, we're done. Good enough. Pretty cool match so far. And yeah, that's 3 Pyroblasts in Eric's list. Can't quite tell how many Flusterstorms. I think it's 2 Flusters and 3 Pyros. Eric not happy with the Pyroclasm that was sitting in his hand that game.
Yeah, I think 2 Flusterstorms right under Brainstorm.
Yep. Cage in the sideboard from Oliver is interesting.
He likes Sword to Protoss more than...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I mean, I guess it is true that Eric can just combo off through a Cage, right? He uses Oath as effectively a worldly tutor, summons a creature to the top of his library. Cage prevents it from coming into play, but Eric then gets to draw it. So, I mean, that's part of the elegance of this the Shuhei Oath deck, which is really the Brian Kelly Oath deck, right? This is only a couple of cards off from the deck Brian Kelly won Vintage Champs with a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
and yeah,
so
he designed that Bomberman combo into it specifically so that he could win through Graph Digger's Cage.
seems like Eric has like 0 Graveyard Hate in his deck.
Eric is on 0?
Also, Blazing Archon.
Why do you care about Graveyard Hate cards? Rodrigo, what deck would that be relevant to?
Yeah.
Find myself even more curious what's going to happen next match. I don't know. Maybe he's always thinking about whether it's time for Dredge.
Also, if people are not sideboarding for Dredge, it's great. Also, the Vintage...
it won the Power 9 over the weekend, right? Dredge won.
Yeah, sadly, I lost against the winner because I punted game 1 and 3. So... was not...
I also lost to Dredge. And there were only like 2 decks in the field. I don't know if I lost to the actual winner or the other Dredge player, but...
I lost against the winner. Was not a fine played match.
All right, Eric's got a turn 1 Library of Alexandria. He is on the play, though, so it's not online yet. Oliver's got a little bit of everything, which is kind of what you want.
Yeah, he has to Dark Faden, which is... I think this is a matchup where Dark Faden is pretty good. Also, any Planeswalker is really great against Oath.
Fair. Both players sitting on Dak, but Oliver's the one with the mocks to get there quicker.
And the dig through time. Oh, okay. Eric has Treasure Cruise.
Yeah. Eric's not happy that he drew his Grizzlebrand. That card's basically blank. Okay.
Sometimes this kind of Oath plays one show and tell. If they are playing like, not this version, but they are playing like the 2 or 3 Grizzlebrand with Mystical Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. Just if your opponent has Cage, you can just tutor up the Grizzlebrand and show and tell it into play.
Interesting. Oliver just goes for the turn 2 Monastery Mentor. I think that's because of the library, right? He might be living in fear of Oath of Druids, but if your opponent is on Library of Alexandria, he's getting outdrawn 2 for 1. He can't afford to play a long game and guard against Oath. He has to just slam Mentor, force Eric to show him an Oath of Druids, and try to get Eric off the library.
Yeah, but this can work pretty bad.
I'm just saying, I think I understand why Oliver took this gamble, and I think it was correct to take that gamble.
He can still he can gush this turn or next turn and try to find with the gush. Also, he will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also, he will get into dig through time mana this turn, so he can gush, dig through time, and find an answer. Even a 2 mana answer, it's good enough because he has the mocks, so he can dig into a Fragmentize or a Disenchant or a Containment Priest. And Eric's deck is not pretty good fighting against an Containment Priest because usually they play cards like Abrupt Decay or this or Sudden Shock or some kind of cards, but he's on the explosives plan, so this does not work so well.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I mean, Eric has the Grizzlebrand in his hand, which we know, but Oliver does not know. So Oliver is probably thinking he has to find a Oath of Druids answer on the spot right now, when in fact, all Eric is going to get to Oath next turn is a 2/4, which, if he also Oaths to Black Lotus, might be game over. But I think on balance, Oliver would be happy if he knew Eric had the Grizzlebrand in his hand. All right.
If he gets to combo, he can hard cast Grizzlebrand.
Also true. So Oliver gushed. He found an Ancestral, but he's going to spend his mana on a Dig Through Time. He wants to see 7 cards. Containment Priest is the best one he can find, but he'd also be content with a Fragmentize, a Disenchant. Rather have a Disenchant since it's not vulnerable to missteps. Found a Ruby. Ruby and a card we can't see. This lets a Gitaxian Probe. Lots of interesting information for Oliver Tew.
So he knows he will win the fight about the Ancestral if he does not draw a hate card now.
And it means because he has the Ruby, he can still cast a 2-mana hate card after spending a mana on the Ancestral. Sure. That's why keeping the Ruby made a lot of sense there.
So he drew this turn 2, 7, that's 9, 10. Yeah, 13 cards to find a hate card.
And it's not even clear he auto loses if he fails. It's going to depend on how the Oath plays out.
Right. I think you lose in this situation because he also has a Treasure Cruise, so the odds of getting.
But it's an odds thing. I'm just saying it depends. If the first card off the top of the deck is the 2/4, then Eric hasn't accomplished much of anything.
It's not deterministic.
Fair.
So yeah, he gets a lot of. Even a Time Walk also wins the game.
Oh yeah, Time Walk absolutely wins the game, 100%. They trade missteps. Oliver's Ancestral Recall is going to resolve. He's going to get 3 more cards. Man, the Mentor's up to 7/7.
Who do you think it's gonna?
Black Lotus?
Oh, Black Lotus is Dark Fiden. At least that's more cards.
More cards. Man, the Time Walk.
Lotus,
he can't get that Mentor to 17, can he? There's no way he can get the Mentor to 17, right? I mean, the Ruby and the Lotus is 9. Dak Faden is 10. We're getting there. Oh, there's another box. There's a Pearl. That's 11. Surely not.
He could start countering his own spells.
In theory. Also, this gets Eric below Grizzlebrand activation mana. I mean, Oliver now knows the Grizzlebrand's in his hand, but I mean, the Oath player certainly, if you Oath a Grizzlebrand into play, you prefer to be at 8 or more life.
Treasure Cruise? He can go on a cruise this turn.
What? What is going on here?
3, 4, 5.
Mentor's up to 10.
Okay.
Sure. Dak Faden. 11, and he's going to get 2 more cards, and he's going to have the Delve for the Treasure Cruise.
Yeah.
This is
that was a crazy turn.
He tapped out for Mentor. Eric was like, oh, it's Containment Priest and Gitaxian Probe? Wow.
I think he can win and have Containment Priest.
He can win and have the Priest for backup, just for still out all these.
Mentor is 12 right now, so Cruz is 13. Whoa.
Absurd.
Seems like Mentor
to fight Eric's library. He's like, all right, show me the Oath of Druids. Eric is like, I've got the Oath of Druids. It's like, well, let's see how far we can get. Oliver's down to, it's going to be at 31 cards in his library after this. It's turn 3.
Wait, that's 13. 14, 15, 16. Okay, it's lethal. No. He has lethal.
He has to start Force of Willing his own stuff, right?
Yeah, he can Swords, then Mental Misstep, then Swords, then 17.
He has to also Force of Will, yeah. He could have cast 4 more spells. He could have got to 17. Swords, Misstep, Force of Will. This is all you could do on turn 3, Oliver. All you could do was put 11 monks and a Containment Priest into play, get your opponent to 4. Come on, buddy. You can do better than that. All right. Here's Oath of Druids. And Containment Priest exiles, right? It doesn't leave it on top. It exiles it. So this is so much more devastating than a Grafdigger's Cage. That creature that comes to the top would get exiled instead of put into play. So I don't even think... I mean, maybe Eric wants to fill up his graveyard. I don't know what his outs are. Fill up his graveyard for Cruz?
Also, if he had another creator in his deck, he will take it, but...
Yeah. Nothing Eric can do. So, Oliver, to you, what an absurd turn 3. That was cool. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, turn 2 Mentor, Black Lotus, Ancestral, Dig Through Time, Gush, Dark Friday. Yeah, all fair Magic cards.
All fair. That's one word for them. Man, a Mentor deck is good. I see why Oliver sticks with it. He's got some experience with it, and it is just super powerful. Even a matchup which is supposed to be bad for Mentor, like Oath, it's not that bad. It's like, 40-45% bad if it's bad.
Yeah, so I think it's not a bad matchup. Also, Mentor is really great against all the other blue decks.
Right.
Like Containment Priest is hard to deal with. You play a lot of blue cards. Gosh, the problem is Mentor is not good against Matt because of the Gush thing. And then, Thorn of Amethyst is not really great against cantrip deck. So it's really great against cantrip decks.
Right. Yeah, I think that the Oath deck is the best of the blue decks against Mentor. I think if I knew I was playing Oath against Mentor, I would rather be on the Oath side of it, I think. But some of it depends on how the decks are configured and what the sideboard cards look like. And it's all there. Sometimes you get the Oath and they just kill you with Mentor on turn 3.
Yeah, so Mentor is really strong.
You know what this means, though? You know what it's time for?
Yeah.
Oliver 2 won his match, so we're through the first match, but we're going to take a brief pause from our playoff festivities. Amonkhet Masterpiece spoiler time. Awesome. I'm looking forward to this. I think we are ready to show you guys what we have for your viewing pleasure. There we go. Dark Ritual. Vintage staple since Vintage was basically just called Magic. It was in alpha, it was in beta, it was in a whole bunch of cards along the way, and you get to see how these frames are just, they're so interesting to me. You've got the 3D columns around the art box. You've got, I don't know what kind of ritual Nicole Bolas is up to, but it definitely looks dark. Got your guys kind of marching up the temple with the Bolas horns. I like it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really great. I'm going to pick out this card for sure.
Yes,
I like
this struck me as a card you would play with, sir. You could play this card in Legacy. You could play this card in Vintage.
Yeah, for sure. Also, this card, I like the card. Also, Dark Ritual it's the second or third best 1-mana spell from Alpha.
Behind Ancestral Recall and what, Lightning Bolt is your other choice?
Yeah, I think yes. What?
Give me a Dark Ritual over Lightning Bolt.
Do you think Dark Ritual is better than Lightning Bolt?
When it's good, it's broken. Like, Lightning Bolt is more fair. It might be more powerful on balance. I mean, I'm sure more Lightning Bolts have done more things over the years, but when you've got a Necropotence deck with Dark Rituals, when you've got a Storm deck with Dark Rituals, when the card fits what the strategy's up to, it's just absurdly powerful. Even if you're just like double Dark Ritual Singer Vampiring on turn 1, still really good. I mean, take that, Lightning Bolt. My guy's a 4/4. Sorry, forgive me. I'm flashing back to 1995.
I came from the one mana spells that was on this kind of cycle. The white one that gets you 4 life and Gigant Growth.
Yeah, so I know we've talked a lot about this frame. People are talking about it. There's a bunch of things worth pointing out here. I think that they've obviously developed this hieroglyphic font that they're using on both the name of the card and also the type line. And I don't know how well you can see it in the images, but it's actually got a carved-in look. This is a very sort of Egyptian cartouche aesthetic they're going for. So you've got both. There's like the bevel around the art boxes. I think my favorite part of this frame.
Also, I think that the image that we just see is not justice to the real effect that you get of this card. I saw the video that you was speaking before, and the real life cards are much better than just a scan or what this is. So I think people are gonna like this kind of cards, and Dark Ritual is a great card to spoil.
Yeah, I like it. Bolus Ritual. Nicol Bolas up to Dark Things totally makes sense to me. I like the gold filigree. By the way, I think second best 1-mana spell in Alpha. I think that crown actually goes to Soul Ring. Somebody.
Yeah, I mean from this cycles of
the boons. That's good. Yeah, this is the same cycle. Alpha does have the cycle of boons: Healing Salve, Giant Growth, Lightning Bolt, Dark Ritual, and Ancestral Recall.
You were speaking before about that Force of Will would have been cool to have, but I think Dark Ritual is more of a card that you enjoy.
Oh yeah. I wonder which. I've probably played more Force of Wills over the years, but look, I just love the fact that we got a vintage card for the Vintage Super League preview. I love it. I think that I actually really like the way the masterpieces are sort of worked out too over the years. I like the way they sort of find these excuses to put these awesome blingy cards for people who actually do care about seeking them out and putting them in and making their decks a little more special. I think it's awesome. And for everybody else, yeah, there's just awesome cards with high trade value. Very attractive cards for you to then trade to the other people that do love them.
Yeah, I think the cards are far better than the old masterpieces. And I like the art and the much more. So
yeah, I think that art's really nice too. I think I agree with you. I may have to pick some of these up. I have a lot of Asian 4th edition in my collection. My old school decks are, Chinese 4th edition, Japanese 4th edition. I like I like the black border versions of the alpha art, but betas can tend to be a little tricky to get a hold of. Can't play these in old school, obviously, but other decks, these could become my Dark Rituals of choice, I think.
Yeah, but you have more decks than just old school.
Oh, exactly. That's what I mean. I have certainly played plenty of Doomsday over the years in real life vintage. They go right in. Awesome. So that's our preview. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys, I hope you guys are enjoying all the spoilers right out there. I think it's pretty cool too the way Wizards has sort of handed out all these spoilers to streamers. It's just made today a super fun day.
Yeah.
I guess how fun the day is for you is maybe going to depend on how this next round goes. You've got some Magic to play now.
Sure not. I will have fun. Also, I think the top group we are playing today, it's pretty stacked.
Yes,
sir. From the players that were on the group, most of these players are like World Championship players, because other are vintage players, other are just. But the top group, I think it's not easy for me to beat them.
You're the vintage ringer. You're the specialist here.
Yeah,
you crush vintage tournaments. But this is your format, right? Kick the pros out. Isn't that your mission here?
If I would have chosen, I would have chosen to play against other opponents. Maybe.
These guys are pretty good at Magic. Fair enough. All right. Well, we're going to be back momentarily with round 2. It is going to be Rodrigo taking on Paul Rietzel. Who knows what these guys are brought to play with? We will find out right after this commercial break. Stay tuned, everybody.
Bye.